This would require a designated school official at a New York school to report to the state police if a non-immigrant student who is granted a visa failed to register for classes as scheduled or failed to report to this official at the time the student was expected to commence his or her program of study, along with the requirement that this official must already report to the federal government. This would also require that every institution has to keep a record of the number of graduate and undergraduate students by country of origin and the number of students enrolled by degree program and country of origin for enrolled non-immigrant students, which must be submitted annually to the state education department. If an institution does not comply, they may be subject to a fine if they do not take corrective action to report this information. There are no memos of support or opposition for this bill. This bill was introduced in 2002 and it passed the Senate in 2002 to 2005. If this bill is reported, it will go to the floor.
So this bill has been before us before, and the problem potentially is that students come into the country with a visa but never show up to class. So we have students roaming around wherever. I feel, as many of you do, that with everything going on today in the country, that every person has to be where they should be.
Are you open to questions?
Yes, Senator.
Are there any exemptions to this reporting rule? In other words, let's say the student meets with an accident and can't attend class. What happens if there is a downturn in the economy and the student can't afford the tuition? Are there any exemptions for extenuating circumstances totally unrelated to the issue of terrorism, which is, I think, the underlying question?
But the student, under the scenarios that you have talked about, would communicate most likely with the school.
So the answer is no. There are no exemptions.
Okay. There are no exemptions.
No. Let me explain. I will vote no because for two reasons, really. Aside from everything else, and obviously we're all concerned about terrorism, people being here who don't belong here. However, I don't believe it's the job of the college officials to regulate. It's the job of ICE and the other agencies that deal with terrorism. I will be a no vote.
I just want to make a comment before I recognize our leading expert in this area. I think it is everyone's responsibility in the world that we live in. We can't take any chances. So if someone says, I am going to Queens College, we expect them to be at Queens College and reporting. If there is some problem, I broke my arm and I can't start for the first 2 weeks. But at least we know that we have communication with that individual. But I understand your no vote.
It's a no vote. With revisions, perhaps we can support. I can support it.
Senator Croce?
Well, Senator, I want to compliment you on the legislation first because there's so many New Yorkers who want to go to SUNY schools, who live here, who grew up here, who want to pay that in-state tuition and go to a great institution. So if there's somebody who's enrolled, who is not a New Yorker, not American, and who's abusing that privilege really to attend the SUNY school, that's one issue that I'm glad that this bill addresses. The second is the director of the FBI has begged on multiple occasions for the last year and a half state and local governments to help them with a new challenge that they can't really get a handle on. And I think this bill creates additional data set for not only the state of New York to have, but for authorities to be able to work with to help combat a problem which, by the experts' recognition, is something we've never faced. So this is a bold piece of legislation. I compliment you.
Yeah.
I'll be voting aye.
Any
Does this
other?
apply to just SUNY? I think the way I read it, it applies to all colleges.
It applies
Yes.
to all colleges.
Yes. Any other comments? Any negative votes?
There are 3 others in addition to Senator Stavisky. Senator Krueger, Peralta, and Rivera are negative,
Okay.
and Senator Breslin is without recommendation.
Okay. Bill is recorded. Senator Griffo's bill, Senator, before you came, I had indicated that the parties interested in this legislation are working on it, and hopefully the bill will be back on the agenda to, for the committee to discuss. Okay. Last bill, 2810.
Senate Bill 2810 by Senator Laval. This would prohibit the sale of dissertations and term papers provided through electronic media. Currently, the law only prohibits sale of written dissertations and term papers. There are no memos of opposition for this bill. There is a memorandum of support from SUNY. This bill has passed the Senate for the past 5 years, and if this bill is reported, it will go to the floor.
Any comments? Any negative votes? Bill is reported.
Comments are the same as last year.
Okay. Committee is going to be hosting both chancellors of SUNY and CUNY and also the president of KICO at upcoming meetings. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.